and they have cast lots for my people,
right,
and have given a boy for an harlot,
right,
and sold a girl for wine,
right. This is what they did during slavery, right? Our chattel slavery. Go ahead.
That they might drink.
That they might drink, right? Yeah, that's that. Yeah. You understand? Go down.
Verse 4, it says, Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Which are what? Hamites.
All
right, Hamites. Okay,
go ahead. And them.
Yeah, those Canaanites, correct.
It say, and all the coast of the Palestine,
which is going on to the Tyre and Zidon, because they were coastal cities. Go ahead.
Will ye render me a recompense?
Will you render me a recompense? Right, go ahead.
And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return the recompense upon your own head.
Right.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my godly pleasant things.
Right, there's these bloody nasty heathens, right? Go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
Right, go ahead.
That ye might remove them from the far of their
far from their border. That ye might. That's right.
Verse 7 say, Behold, I will raise them out of the place.
But let me hold it there, because it say you might remove them far from the border, but they say I've sold unto the Grecians. Now this Ron Dalton, I'm not sure, but I never heard them going to the scriptures, to be honest, much about this. But you know, if he's saying that the so-called white man and it's Japhet, then you'll be saying they are the Grecians here. But they are Japhet, but it's not true. Alright, because this scripture, right, not talking about the original Grecians, which are the Etruscans, which are the real Japhites. It's not speaking about that. It's speaking about the Hamites selling us to Esau, Edom. Right, because the original Grecians were Japhites. Alright, and I have pictures here to prove it. Alright, here we have old pictures of a Negro and white, and this shows the change in the kingdom, right? From people looking like this to looking like this. Because when Alexander the Greek took over control, he was the first that reigned over Greece in terms of his lineage, his stock, right? Being an Edomite, because he was a Macedonian, right? His lineage traces straight back to what? Amalek, the grandson of Esau, Edom. Alright? So here you have that there. On this side, you have a picture of Memnon, right? The same Agamemnon, I believe, that they had in the movie Troy. But notice the darkness of the countenance. They were dark. They were dark, so-called black people. Alright? Another one we have here is a detail of the heads of Memnon and Negroes, black figured, right? So here again we have it here, right? Take a look at that too. Receipts. See that? Receipts. This is how the true Japhites look like. Right? So this the pale white man, the leprous man, that's Esau, Edom. They have the curse of Cain, the ancestor. Right? That's what Esau inherited. Right? So you see, this is the true complexion of the Japhites. They look like so-called black people. The only person on the earth who was black complexion at that time was Esau. Alright, and this here, let me just read some of this here. It says, detail of one of Memnon's Negro companions from the black figured neck amphora. Right? 540 to 530 BC. Why that's important? It's 200 years before Alexander the Greek. Alexander the Greek came up in 332 BC. Right, this is 200 years before Alexander. 200 years before. This is how the people looked again. Right, that's how the Japhites look. Today the Japhites are the so-called the natives of Australia, all right, and of the islands, right, the Samoan Islands and those things, the Fiji Islands. Those are the Japhites, the true Japhites, all right. And Memnon was a son of Javan. And Javan, if you go back to lineage in Genesis, I believe it's the 10th or 11th chapter, he was a son of Japhet. Okay? Okay? So hey, these were the original inhabitants of Greece, right? Those were the original. But this scripture in Joel 3 is not speaking about these people that you saw in this book. Alright, this Salakian, I didn't show the face of the book. Alright, this is Frank M. Snowden, right? Blacks in Antiquity. Okay? Okay, so it's not speaking about that. In order to get to see, to understand who the true people they were speaking about there, you have to go to the book of Amos. Right, Amos chapter 1, I believe you start around the 9th verse. You can get it,
Yeah, I don't know if it's already.
Can.
1 and 9.
Let me see if it's there.
Yeah,
That's it there. Yeah, go ahead.
Amos 1 and 9. It says, thus said Yahweh,
Mm-hmm.
thy power,
Mm-hmm.
for 3 transgressions of Tyrus,
Right.
and for 4.
Now Tyrus, go back to Tyre. I read in the last scripture those Canaanite Hamites. Right, go ahead.
It say, I will not turn away the punishment thereof,
Right.
because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom.
So who?
To Edom.
Edom, the so-called Edomites. Right, go ahead.
And remembered not the brotherly covenant.
So when we read that in Joel, the 3rd chapter, we were speaking about sending them to Edom. Why? Let's get 1 Maccabees 1 and 1. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1. Let's see who reigned 200 years in 332 BC. It was Alexander the Greek, right? Who was an Edomite by stock. Okay, he was related to Haman, the Agagite. Okay.
1 Maccabees 1.
Yeah, 1 Maccabees 1. Let's start verse 1.
There's the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1.
Right, go ahead.
Right, it say.
Yeah, the next bit. Right, you're almost there. Right there. Go ahead.
It say, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian.
Right, which are Macedonian. Go back to those Edomites. Macedonia was around the area of, I believe, Cyprus, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, and which is close. They came, Philip was his father, and he overthrew Greece, which his father was planning. Alright, go ahead.
Right, it say, who came out of the land of Chittim, and smitten Darius, king of the Persians.
Right, took down the Persian Empire. Go ahead.
And the Medes.
Medo-Persians. Go ahead.
That he resigned in his stead. The first over Greece.
The first over Greece. The first in his stock over Greece. Okay. So those Edomites had reigned over Greece and called themselves what? The Grecians. Our scripture said they oppress a man even in his heritage. Even a man in his heritage. So this is what these devils do. So this deception from Ron Dalton here is being exposed. Alright? And guess what? We have the receipts. Alright? So the elect not going to be deceived. Don't worry. Alright? You understand? So hey, another point too is that prophecy doesn't say that Japhet would be ruling in the last days, right? Prophecy never says that. 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 7. 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 7. What does it say? Let's go into that. It doesn't say anything like that. Alright?
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 7. Right? It say, Then answered and I said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?
Yeah, then answered I said, go ahead. Was the parting asunder of the times? Alright? Go ahead. What's the age? That's the aeon they're talking about there. Go ahead.
It say, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that follow it?
Was the first Amalek was the first among the nations. The scripture tell you that. Right? The Lord says he swear war against Amalek, not Japhet. Alright? Okay?
And the scripture say how Esau is the beginning of the world and Jacob is the Salakia.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to read here. Yeah, go ahead.
It say, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning that follow it. Right? So it say follow it. Right? That is the new beginning. That when we going to get back our rulership.
But the main point there is that Esau is the end of the world. They will be ones ruling in the latter years. Because why? In Genesis, let me see if I can get that. Genesis, let's see, Genesis 25, boy. Let me see if I can get it here. Hold on,
Genesis 25.
Let me see if I can get it there. Yeah. Yes.
25, I know.
Genesis 27. Get Genesis 27. Genesis 27, around the 28th verse.
You said, therefore God gave thee, overview of the heaven and fatness of the earth. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. You could start at you can start at verse 39. Verse 39?
Or 29?
20, nah, let me see. The people serve the let's start at verse 39.
Okay. Ready? Genesis 27 and 39 it say, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Right, dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, right? They're gonna live in all the nicest places. Go ahead.
Okay. And of the dew of heaven from above.
They go right now, that's what they're doing right, they're enjoying it right now.
Okay.
Right?
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
By thy sword shalt thou live.
And shall serve thy brother.
Right.
And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion.
And they did serve us. They serve us at least twice. One under King David. When King David overthrew them, they became servants unto Israel. And then again they served as well also in the during the time of before the Renaissance. Alright? They were certain, some of them were certain amount of them were slaves too as well. To a certain extent, we were over them. Because we were the one ruling the world, right? From Europe. Alright? Even though most of them were in the Caucasus Mountains. Okay? But what happened now after that is what? The Renaissance period came, which is what? The rebirth. Alright? The rebirth period. Go ahead.
Okay. It say that thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessings wherewith his father blessed him. Right. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. But then I will slay my brother Jacob.
Alright, what I want you to do, read over verse 40, Baba Kusha.
Oh, Salakia. Verse 40, it say, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. Right. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion.
Right, and that's Job 9 and 24, when the earth was given unto the hands of the wicked. Daniel 4 and 17 also, the Lord appoint the base over the world, the basis of men. Right? So that's why they're ruling today. Go ahead and finish it off.
He said that thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck.
And that's what they did. That was in the Renaissance period. As I was saying, the Renaissance period, they came in, they whitewashed everything, destroyed, knock off the noses, knock off the lips of the statues, whitewash, lighten the complexion. All these things is what they did. Alright? And I just show you, that's prophecy. That's prophecy. Alright? To add to that, Amalek and those guys, they're not even in the land. They're not in the land of South Africa. Because as he says South Africa. He said Israel is in, I believe, South Africa. In Africa. At least in Africa for sure we know, but where's Amalek then? When did they do Ezekiel 36 chapter? Appoint the land, Lord land into their hands. When that happened. Alright? So this guy all about deception.
Because if in the Colossians too, the last one, they said they sold us for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. Right? How if the Lord say no man shall redeem you, how they basically so-called get redeemed because they already back in Jerusalem. Also the Lord say that we will never see our land again, and they over there how long now? And on top of that too, right? Because it's in the same
video. And so like just to add what you're saying there, because that's where show you Ron Dalton offer again too, because he's saying to go back to the land. Even if the land was in Africa, it wasn't so go back, you still wait on the Lord to take you back.
Yeah.
He said
you trying to take matters into your own hand.
Which is the same thing what people like GOCC did before, when they made a whole lot of people, a lot of silly women too. Right? went go across to Egypt saying they're gonna go back into Israel. And they get stranded right there. Alright? They got stranded right there. Alright? It ain't no going back. The destruction and the agenda of this devil, of Esau Edom, is to expand to the whole earth. You can't go anywhere that you wouldn't be able to get away from it. Right? Our salvation is really our shy. That's our salvation.
Lord, wait ye upon me.
Until what? Until I rise up to the prey. Right? Until I rise up to the prey. Alright?
These people are them so bugged out,
That's right. That's right. And let me read a piece of this here. It's Ezekiel 36 and verse 5, it says, for therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy I have spoken against the residue of the heathen, right, which going back to all those Ishmaelites and them in land, so-called Palestinians, right, and against all Idumea. Idumea is what the Greek word for what? Esau. Edom. Alright? Idumea, this is Idumea, he said, right? Which have appointed my land into their possession. When that happened in Africa, right? We know about the Balfour Declaration, which was written in 1917 and enacted in 1948. Right? That's what they call them, the 48ers. Alright? So what are you talking about, right? It says, with all the joy of their heart and the spiteful minds to cast it out for prey. Alright? You see?
And they're trying to cover up all of that.
Yes, there's prophecy. This is the reason why this guy Ron Dalton is pushing this doctrine. Right? More than likely, you know, he's been pushing it because that's what they told him to do. Right? Because, you know, everything is off. Right? He's saying Esau is Japheth. That's covering up for them. Okay. Right? He's saying that, you know, basically that they're not Esau. They're not going to be, in other words, Esau is slated for destruction. They're not going to get destroyed. Yeah, right? Obadiah 1:18. Also Zechariah the 12th chapter. Alright? You know, they're saying that the land is a different place. Right? So you see everything thrown off. Or the whole doctrine is thrown it off for Esau. And this makes sense as the narrative, their narrative.
He kind of like he defending them.
Correct.
Because if it is, you're not admitting that they are the so-called white man. You know, and you're saying this Japheth, but I highly doubt, right? Because I never see it, but I highly doubt he had any. Well, it wouldn't even have proper evidence to prove that, right? Because anything he show you is something that they came up with to so-called prove that they are Japheth. But through the scriptures, we know that is not true. We know that is not true.
So it's all a pack of lies, right? It's just them setting up to get control of that narrative, right? But you know, Yabashim Yoshai, we're not ignorant of Satan devices through power, spirit and power. 2 Corinthians 2:11 bring out that. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Right? We've seen right through that charade. Right? You know, Esau is the one who cast a veil over all nations and cover all people. And even though they're trying to give and that's the next thing now that bring us another thing. Alright? But read that scripture first, sir.
2 Corinthians 11.
So everything flowing into it making sense that they know what they're doing. Alright? Yeah, 2 Corinthians 2:11. 2:11.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I say.
Yeah, no. 11.
I know, I say 9 something, right?
Yeah. 2:11. Yeah, this is what they're doing.
There's 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11.
Yeah.
Right? It say, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
They get an advantage. They can only get advantage of the 2/3. Alright, because they can't feed them this nonsense. You tell them the truth that they're Israelite and you start feed them a pack of lies. And right? Changing the narrative.
They're not even fixated on the 2/3 Israeli, the elect they're trying to think.
But they can never get elect. But the scripture say elect, you know, not gonna be deceived. Right, Matthew 24. Alright? But they teaching them, telling them, okay, we get it, that you're Israelite. And not even telling the whole Israel that they're Israelite, because why? Ron Dalton, he does not teach about the Native American tribe, the 10 tribes. He don't go into it.
So you basically just teaching that the so-called black people then.
Yes. And that's what is. So Israel is a way bigger nation than that. And a lot of the 10 tribes were taken in slavery as well too. They did slavery as well as the scattered elect, the scattered Israelites that are among the heathen. It's millions of them. Israel is the biggest nation upon the face of the earth, right? Hosea 1 talk about that. As the son of the sea, you know.
And that's still shaky, you know, because not all so-called black people is Israelites.
That's true too.
You understand?
And that's a good point to raise too, because I believe on the video that he was pushing, as correct as I look like. In the video that he was pushing, he actually was showing some bloody Hamites. The Apostle Tahada say like, what's this? Some flicking nasty Hamites with some sharp teeth. them Hamites are sharp and the teeth are point. And saying all these people are Israelites. No, some of them is Hamites. Right, when we went into Africa, we were among a lot of Hamites, and these Hamites were always fighting against us and pushing us out of the land. Because they knew we didn't belong to Africa.
That's not Ark, I'll tell you, eh?
Yeah.
Edomites and Moabites slash Ammonites. You know, we could all agree that they are very disgusting people, because the kind of things they be eating and things. But you see Hamites too, boy. Good, but I see some videos of them, they blowing cow bottom and thing and this and drinking,
disgusting, man.
Cow piss and that disgusting to max, boy.
Yeah,
and
disgusting.
we people proud to say these Africans are like,
yeah, these people Jake destroyed, you know, because Jake really destroyed these people. Those Hamites have a complete different spirit from us.
And when you really take it into they much darker than us, you know. Well,
it's the most part. Sometimes you might find some Jakes that are really dark, but
yeah,
you know, the spirit, the constance, the spirit, it just like, you know, it different. It completely off.
Way different.
It off.
But when I say they are lot darker than us, there Jakes that dark, but it's like their skin does look so oily in a way. I don't know if it's just like
a little difference.
I don't know if it's because of the pictures on them I just happen to see, however it is, but like they just look so oily. We skin does look moist and thing, yes, but they just look oily, but like, you know, you know oilers look.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how them looking.
Maybe it's some kind of nasty oil they putting on this, but
remember
it's all kind of wickedness.
Remember they being in corpus too, that could
real nastiness. Anyway, let me continue with the edification. Let's get 2nd Ezra 13 and 40th verse. We're gonna see that there were 10 tribes that came across to America, right? Years before. Alright? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, the 2nd Ezra 13 and 40, it say, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
Right, these 10 tribes, right, starting from Ephraim all the way down to Issachar. Right, because you know, in the land of Israel, Shalom, Barak boy. Yeah, Bashim Yoshai Barakata. Bashim Yoshai boy.
Shalom, Bashim Yoshai Barakata.
Yeah, we know that, you know, hey, mainly three tribes were left in the land, alright? Which should namely Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, with a sprinkling of the rest of the 10 tribes. But the majority 10 tribes were taken to captivity in Assyria. Go ahead.
Right, it's a which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
Right.
Whom
Salmanasar.
Yeah, I was gonna read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought I was looking for some.
Yeah.
Right, they say the king of Assyria.
Yeah, I was looking for the scripture. Yeah. We'll get it after.
Oh, can.
Yeah. Second Kings 17 and 6.
Yeah. Right, they say the king whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters.
Right.
And so came they into another land.
Right, land of Assyria. Go ahead.
They say, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen,
right,
and go forth into further country,
right,
where never mankind dwelt.
Right, where never mankind dwelt. You're talking about the Americas here, all right? Because King Solomon and Hiram, right, who was the king of the Canaanites at that time, Tyre and Zidon, all right, they used to send the other navy together, used to send them across here to Americas to get gold and spices, peacocks, which is talking about turkeys and all these things like that, right? But nobody used to dwell here. Go ahead.
Right, it say that they might there keep their statutes.
Right, the laws and the statutes. Go ahead.
Which right, they say which they never kept in their own land.
Right.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. It say, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and beheld still the flood till they were passed over.
So the Lord hold back the Atlantic Ocean, the power of the Atlantic Ocean, right, for them to pass over. Now powerful the Atlantic Ocean, very rough, very, very rough. So the Lord showed them signs and holes till the flood, for them to come across to here, right? So those Native Americans and those so-called Latinos, right, are Israelites. Right, are Israelites. Now, you could bring 2 Kings 17 and 6.
And even just to add what you're saying now, when you go in Belandra beach, right? You see how rough the waters is.
Yeah,
because it's always we connected.
Yes. Yeah, correct. On the next side where we went, I remember that. Yeah, so powerful the water is there. Real rough. You know, so the Lord had to hold that still so they could come across here. So that was the will of the Lord. Go ahead.
And the chief thing about it is that honestly I never read the scripture in my life before. So knowing that there is the second time that Israel got a sign like that, because the first time was with Pharaoh, when they was crossing, right, with Moses and
the Red Sea,
and now this one, for them to cross, to go over
to this part of the world, right? And they knew about this part of the world through what King Solomon and the navy that he had. You could go ahead with that. You could go ahead with that precept.
This is the book of 2 Kings and 17. Verse 6.
Go ahead.
In the 9th year of Hoshea.
Yeah, which is Hosea they're talking about there. Hoshea,
and the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel along into Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Haba by the river of Kazan.
Goes on.
And
in the city of the Medes.
The city of the Medes, right?
Medes.
So you see, but after they got away now, they came across to it. After they leave, they say, well, boy, Israel was real wicked. 10 tribes were very wicked, even more wicked than the southern kingdom in that time. You know, they were going off right through. So they say make a pact with the Lord that they will obey him when they come across to these new lands. Right? Yeah. So what a boy act boy? You could jump back and finish off that now.
I believe it's verse 45. It says, for through that country there was a great way to go,
right?
Namely of a year and a half.
Right, a year and a half, because King Solomon navy, each trip used to take 3 years. A year, I show you how the Lord lined it up beautiful for us. A year and a half to go across here, and a year and a half to come back. See where they get the 3 years? Go ahead.
I say, and the same region is called Aseret.
Which mean what? The land where no man dwelt. Go ahead.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
So they're still here until the latter times. Go ahead.
And now when they shall begin to come.
Who shall begin to come? The southern kingdom. The southern kingdom side, they begin to be slave across there from around the 1600, around 1619. Alright? That's the them they talk about have begin to come. This is where the two sticks now were being brought into one land to be united. Right? Ezekiel 37 chapter. Right? For that to be fulfilled. That's how the prophecy all line up. This man off. Ron Dalton is off. The doctrine is off. See? Yeah. You see that's what they're showing you. That is the 12 tribes. So he doesn't believe that. He don't believe in that. He say all the 12 tribes is black people. Alright? Everybody looking the same way. Alright? And how that doesn't make any kind of sense, because the scripture talk about the you know, the 12 tribes being scattered, right? Which is during Deuteronomy 20 and 64. And you have Hosea 8 and 8 say it will be scattered among heathen, and precept upon precept tell you that. So how we expect us to be looking the same way?
And even if you in no, without scriptural evidence to it, but even if you ain't going into scripture and you're going into the history or whatever it is, right, through our slavery, right, we know we were sold here, there, and every way, right? No, like I say, if it is ain't watching scripture, right, common sense will tell you that even though we have some people, alright, some Jake might be picking corn, some might be doing this, some might be doing that, right? But for the women and them, no, what do you think they're going to do with me women, right? They will have sex with their women, right? With our women, I mean, Salakia, and vice versa.
That's how it always was, because when there was, a woman is a spoiler of war. Because the law of Yabashim Yosha actually prescribed that and tell you how you deal with a woman who is a spoiler of war. Yeah.
And that just goes to show, because that alone just proven, right, that it can't just be so-called black people alone, because if it is, you see it here today too, right? If a so-called black man end up going with a Elamite, you know. You get a Dokla child or whatever it is.
Numbers 1 and
you
18.
know. Now, if it is a Jake with a Elamite, you know, they'll say Dokla or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, that will still be a Jake, right? But even if the child may look like a straight Indian, you know, but it's still a Jake. Same thing with if it's a Chinese.
Because you don't go on what? We don't go on the color, skin, and how the person look. Because that's what Esau Edom push forward and say, however you look, that's how you are. That's a lie.
Shaky.
Like, this is how we know our lineage. Go back. Numbers 1 and 18.
This is the book of Numbers 1 and 18. And they assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declare their pedigrees.
Right, the pedigree. Remember when you have a dog, you check the pedigree. If you have a pedigree dog, they check from my father sometimes, because some of them like a pit bull. I know I used to have pit bulls. Right, and they have the front lineage, you have the front pedigree. You have the tractor line and thing, and you don't go by the mother mainly when you go by the father. Right, most times the father really is the studying. Alright, go ahead.
And after their families, by the house of their fathers.
By the house of who?
Their fathers.
Their fathers. So your mother your mother don't come into that equation at all. Right? Because the man carries his seed.
And she just holding it. She just carrying it for the 9
Correct.
months.
Correct.
But the seed
A man is begat. A woman is just bear. A woman is just bear. See? You go and finish it off.
According to the number.
By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, by their pools.
By their pools. So we actually have a record of our lineage going straight back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? To prove who we are. That was broken. That record was broken and was lost because these devils burned our records. They destroy all our evidence, all our receipts. They thought to destroy all the receipts, but that part of it they did away with.
Yeah. The Lord say He will reveal the thing in the end, and they can't stop it.
And that's another thing too, that this devil, this man Ron Dalton is off one too, because he going by DNA. Right? He goes by the DNA. Right, going DNA testing.
You probably check about the woman too.
No, probably, but you see, and that's where you're going off with. And even so, DNA is not 100%. So you might be able to go back 1, 2, a few generations, 10 generations, whatever it is. We talking about more than 2,000 years ago. We talking about more than 2,000 years ago.
The amount of thing that we went through, DNA amount, it must be what's the word? I don't want to say restructured, but like. It gonna have like little differences and things.
Because of why the tribe, the speckled bird too. The speckled bird, yeah, it's true. So he don't even hardly understand. And the reason the Lord talk about having a sifting, and he talk about the tares and the wheat, right? So you're gonna have a lot of Jakes looking like Edomites, and you're gonna have some Edomites even